Welcome back to the Smuteye Central, and today we are going to do a video tour of the layout. So this outside Cato Unitrack is the main line, and it goes around the entire layout. Now this layout is 10 feet long by 6 feet wide, and I can hear those experienced railroaders go, "Oh, 6 feet, how are you going to reach the middle?" And I concur, it is a problem because it's a 3-foot reach. But I got a step stool and I'll put it up and let it go. So let me show you the plan. This plan was in a model railroad magazine or mechanics or something in 1963. And it's called the Smuteye Central. And it has a yard that you can see here. It has a turntable. And then over here is a furniture factory, a textile plant, a coal dumping station, and then a lake in the middle with a mill, foundry, and over here a mine. So there's the quick layout with a train depot up here and a freight depot. So I thought that was a really good plan, but I added an oval outside of it and change things up. So let me show you what I've done. So here's the yard, and here's the main line. This is my arrival departure track, and then my classification tracks, caboose line, and an engine house will go in up there. And so I've adjusted a little bit, and I didn't put the turntable in because I wanted the classification tracks and I wanted a really nice yard. So I was able to install the yard. Now the other thing that I've done is on the layout, I've got Camas, which is a tribute to my mother's hometown, which was a small town. They had a dairy farm, and then we walk another 10 feet down the layout to Port Rich. So Port Rich is off that way down the main line, and Camas is down this way, so this makes this a junction. So here's the junction where we bring the cars in to take care of the branch line, which is the internal loop. This tunnel portal will be for Camas. So trains coming from Camas come out this tunnel portal right here. And they'll go around the main line, and then we'll bring them into the yard. So we have the arrival of the train from Camas, and Camas brings down boxcars, grain cars, sand, and cattle cars. And so that's the main thing that comes in from Camas. So the cars are in the classification yard. This track here, I'm going to put a cattle pen right here for the cattle. That'll come through, and I'll show you more about that in just a few minutes. But the train from Camas is broke down and ready to go, and the yard is about half full. Now we expect the arrival from Port Rich. And this tunnel portal represents coming out of or going to Port Rich. So this is the main line, and the trains run around the main line as many loops as you'd like. Until you're ready to bring it into the yard down here and have it become part of the layout for going to the inner loop. And off the main line and into the yard. To begin our tour, we'll take our engine with boxcar, cattle car, gondola, flat car, tanker, a boxcar, hopper car, and caboose. We'll take them around the layout to the various industries and see how this thing goes. So we'll start her off and send her on her merry way. And our first stop is Sit-a-Spell Furniture. We go out of the yard and around the loop all the way around once, and then stop here at Sit-a-Spell, where it will take boxcars and the gondola with springs and metal that is done up at Brewer Metalworks, and that'll bring them here, and that can be our first stop when we're doing operations to switch out the boxcars and gondolas and such here at Sit-a-Spell Furniture, and maybe even a lumber car. And then we continue on around and up the hill, and our next stop will be Moria Mines. The turnout for the mining is clear up here after the bridge, and with the caboose in that, we can run the trains back to the mining company and change out the hopper cars for empty for full, and hook the full ones back up and bring it back across here, and then around the bridge and down again. And after another loop, we come to Barker Freight, where it is a freight house. It'll do fruits, vegetables, meat, as well as other non-perishable freight. So it will take either reefer cars or box cars, and it has kind of a switching puzzle because it has a trailing lead, but there's also a facing lead for Linda's Textiles and the truck terminal, which are here, and they'll be taken care of when it's going the other way. So those need to be pulled out to make room to be able to switch that out. So there's some neat switching things that will happen there. And then we continue around, and next stop will be Mike's Meat, which will be on the reversing loop. And let me show you the reversing loop. So the train comes around here again, and this is the turnout for the reversing loop. So we throw the turnout, and then we have the reversing loop, and we can trade out Mike's Meats, and then the train will be going the other direction and up the hill. With the stop here, we can change out the cattle cars for the beef coming in for Mike's Meats. We have reefer cars for the refrigerated meat that's going out. Could also take a box car or two for supplies to come into Mike's Meats. So there's about 3 different types of freight cars that can be switched out here in the operations. And now we'll continue on with the reversing loop to our next stop. Up the grade, to the top of the grade for the turnout for Car Chemicals and Brewer Metalworks. And while I'm over here, I'm going to go ahead and move the turnout so we're no longer on the reversing loop. But we stop again on the bridge up here. We'd throw the turnout, and we would drop off some cars on this siding here, and then back the rest of the train over this bridge into Car Chemical and Brewer Metalworks, which will be right here. And we would switch out the tank cars for the chemical plant, the sand cars and gondolas and scrap metal and such for the metalworks. or the ironworks, whichever it is. But that's the next stop, and then we can run another couple of laps going the other direction, and after a couple of laps we will stop at the coal dump station. And here we can swap out. We'd have the coal cars that would be coming in here that are full at the front of the train, and switch them out with the coal dumping station that'll go in right here. And so this is a spot to switch out the hopper cars from the Moria mining and empty them, so they can then be taken down and around and back up to the mining company to refill. So we'll continue on around and down, and the next stop would be Linda's Textiles and the trucking terminal. So let's take her on down and around there. And so here the flat cars and box cars that are going for Linda's Textiles and the trucking terminal would be switched out on this turn. And then we go around one more time, and our next stop will be Prescott Cattle. So after coming down the incline and coming around, we have our last siding for Prescott Cattle. And the cattle cars will be swapped out here. And the main thing here will be bringing empties, and then we'll put a fence in that around here and put cows there so we can load up the cattle cars, take them to the yard, and from the yard to Mike's Meats for the slaughterhouse to make USDA approved hamburgers and Angus beef and all that fun stuff. So we'll follow the train now and watch it come back into the yard, and that'll wrap up the tour of the Smuteye Central. And there it is. I hope you enjoyed the layout tour. I've got a few things to work on. My locomotive power is getting thinner and thinner. These have been boxed up for 50 years or so, and so they're showing their age and wear and tear, so I got to get some new power, as well as do some work on some of these cars. They're basically toys from beginning layouts, and I need to upgrade my rolling stock and get some better cars and wheels and such, as well as work on the points on these turnouts, file down these sections here so they're tighter so the cars don't derail as they go through the turnouts. So a lot more work to do, but I think the layout design is sound, and so comments are always welcome below. Subscribe if you like it, and we'll see you the next time. So keep on keeping on. Thank you and have a great day.